welcome back, tuning into today's second video. I've got the historic video, the review of the winter of 2012-2013 on my homepage here today. So if you're interested in that, check that out. It looks at how the winter progressed and how we got to that very, very cold March, which was the coldest since Victorian times across central parts of England. This video is going to concentrate on the next 6 months. I thought it'd be interesting to have a bit of a 6-month look ahead with the CFS model. Not done this for quite a while. We're going to be using the charts from the CFS model. It's CFS website itself, the NOAA website from the United States itself. We're using the charts and see what it's showing for the next 6 months. Remember, very experimental, not to be relied upon, and the further out you get, of course, the more unreliable it becomes. But the charts are there, so we might as well have a look and see what they're showing on this Sunday afternoon. Now, before I get on with the video, I want to mention the advertising. There's video ads on my pages at GazWeatherVids.com. If you press play on the video ad, you'll be supporting GazWeatherVids.com. Thanks very much for doing that. Got some content ads where you can click through the links and go to read the article. Very interesting articles in those content ads. I've had a look at them myself over the last day or two. Some very interesting pieces there, but you can click through the link, go to the website, and you'll be able to read the article at the website. At the same time, you support GazWeatherVids.com. So there's various ways of getting involved and helping to support the website. Thanks so much for doing that. So we'll start off with the 700 millibar height anomaly charts for the next 6 months. First of all, we're going to start off in March. Of course, this is the most reliable part of the model. The further out we go, the more unreliable it gets. So for March, it's seeing a trough of low pressure, these blue colours up to the north and northwest of the country, ridge of high pressure down to the southwest, quite a strong jet stream coming across the Atlantic. So that's basically a westerly sort of setup. We've got high pressure to the south, low pressure to the north. More unsettled always in the northwest, always driest in the south and the southeast. I think over time this area of high pressure down in the Atlantic could actually become more influential. It's probably quite a mildish sort of month as well, but it's not particularly wet away from the northwest. Now, as we go through to April, things do start to look a bit different because we lose that high pressure down to the southwest. We bring this low pressure further south through the Atlantic. Also got some blocking setting up there up to the north. So that's potentially much cooler signal for April. Yeah, and it's also relatively unsettled. We could probably bring the jet stream to the south of the country with that. So probably on the cool side of the jet, and relatively unsettled for April. Have a look at the temperature and precipitation charts in a moment. For May, it's not particularly inspiring anomaly. It's seeing a trough of below average heights sitting just to the south and the southwest of the country. Got quite a lot of blocking up to the north again, up to the north of Scandinavia, stretching out over here as well. So we're probably bringing in quite a lot of easterly winds with that. Of course, May is usually quite an easterly month, but this low pressure, particularly from the south, could bring some very unsettled conditions. Actually, it could be a relatively cool and quite a wet month for May if that one is right. Again, how long at the temperature and precipitation charts in a moment. As we go through to June, it's placing the trough out to the west of the country, so it's in a little bit more of a typical position, but it still displays further south. The hint perhaps of some blocking there over Greenland and to the north of Iceland as well. So again, it's not a particularly inspiring chart, but it could be a little bit warmer because we may start to bring winds up more from a southeasterly direction, but it's still relatively unsettled. And those hints of blocking around Greenland, not particularly good signal. For July, the signal is quite weak, and of course, again, the further out we go, the more unreliable it's getting, and that's why the signal is getting weaker. But the suggestion is still there that we've got blue colours around the British Isles. So again, the idea, although it's a weak signal, but the idea is that we've probably got some sort of trough around the country, a ridge to the south of Greenland. Again, not particularly inspiring pattern, wouldn't be particularly warm, and probably quite unsettled as well. And then finally we get to August, and again it's not a strong signal, but it is a signal that we've got the trough placed over the country. So again, that's unsettled, high pressure to the south of Greenland again. So once more, the idea is that it's relatively cool, relatively unsettled. So after this dreadful winter, it's not, the CFS model is not seeing a particularly good summer. That would be a real kick in the teeth, I think, after this horrible winter we've had. But there we go. It's not seeing a very nice summer at all this year. Let's have a look at the temperature and precipitation charts. This is the temperature chart for March, and it's a little bit above average across southeast parts of the country in particular. Very warm across most of Europe. Well above average, coolest anomalies down across southern parts of Spain. As we get through to April, it's a cooler signal, near normal really for the west, warmer for the east, but certainly a cooler signal than we have in March. As we go through to May, again the warmest anomalies away to the north and the east of Europe, coolest anomalies out in the west where we're average to slightly below average. June, again the warmest anomalies set up Scandinavia and eastern parts of Europe, coolest anomalies out in the west. So there's a definite idea that there's an east-west split going on here across Europe, with eastern parts of Europe getting a very warm spell, western parts of Europe getting a much cooler spell, or near normal to cool through the spring and into the early summer. For July, nothing really changes. Average to below average in the west of Europe, warmer in the east. And then the signal sort of fades a little bit for eastern, northeast parts of Europe as we get through to August, although the southeast still forecast to be very warm. Western parts of Europe, though, average to slightly below average. Not desperately cold summer being signalled here, but certainly not particularly warm. As we have a look at the precipitation anomalies finally for the next 6 months, and for March it's seeing slightly above average for the British Isles precipitation, but I think that probably is a little bit overdone. I expect it to turn drier as that high pressure builds in through the course of the month. Driest signal is for eastern and southeast parts of Europe. April looking slightly above average across British Isles and most central western parts of Europe as well. May, look at that, it's forecast quite a wet May for England and Wales, drier up to the north. The reason, so we've got that trough placed just to the south of the country, which could produce a lot of rain for southern parts of the country if it was to come off, so quite a wet May being signalled there. Above average precipitation generally for June and for July. Look at July, very wet month across most parts of Europe, away from Eastern Europe actually, even Scandinavia, where you would think it would be drier. That's a little bit above average, but most western parts of Europe and Central Europe getting above average precipitation there in July. And for August it goes on above average precipitation, particularly for Ireland, England, Wales and France into Germany. All this is indicative of a southerly tracking jet stream really through the course of the summer. I think that's what the model is seeing, high pressure being placed up here and probably somewhere up here, and then the jet stream coming southwards into central parts of Europe, bringing areas of low pressure through. That's what the model is seeing at the moment, but of course the summer is a long way off. This is very experimental. You remember at one point last autumn the CFS model was seeing a really cold winter quite regularly for the British Isles. So, and we know we haven't had a cold winter, so it may well be that as we move through the spring it'll see a different signal, a different pattern emerging. So not necessarily anything to be unduly alarmed about at the moment for our summer prospects, but I have to say it's not seeing a good summer right now. We'll see whether it changes. We'll keep monitoring it over the spring, see whether that idea of a relatively cool and unsettled summer changes. But yeah, it's not looking particularly inspiring for the summer at the moment with the CFS model. Anyway, as I say, we'll have a closer look at it through the next few weeks and see whether things start to alter as the summer gets closer. That's it for now, all very speculative and really just for fun and for entertainment. I say the charts are there, so I might as well use them, but it certainly isn't to be relied upon. That's it for now. Things will be back to normal tomorrow with the March month-head forecast, so that'll be quite interesting. That's it for now, and thanks for watching.